my top 5 favorite drugstore foundations. There are so many really great foundations out there for oily skin like myself, so I just wanted to share with you my top favorite at the moment. Depending on my mood, sometimes it changes a little bit. I feel like foundations from the drugstore is something that I like to not necessarily collect, but kind of try them out, kind of test them out a little bit because they're so convenient and affordable. So my first favorite is probably my favorite out of all of them, and it is the Revlon Whipped Foundation. It is what I'm wearing today. I have purchased this more than any drugstore foundation I've ever purchased. I love it so much, and I know that it's something, it's not for everybody. The consistency is not like normal foundations. It is a thicker, kind of mousse-like consistency. I don't like it to scoop it out, which could contaminate it, and it's just like a headache sometimes when I don't have like a clean brush. I can't use it because I don't really want to I don't want to like contaminate and put a dirty brush in it. I usually just scoop it out and put it on my hand. As far as price point for this foundation, it ranges pretty reasonable. I wouldn't say it's like the most expensive drugstore foundation, but I wouldn't say it's like the cheapest either. It ranges from, you can get it, I mean, some places $8 to $13, just depending on where you go. It does have a really great color selection. I was actually trying to find a darker color now that it's summertime. I do like that they have a pretty large selection to choose from. I don't think the selection has the greatest colors, because if you like are looking for like a yellow tone, I didn't really find too many yellow tones or more pinky tones. The tones of the foundations are mostly beige. Some of them were out of stock, so those could have been the pinky yellow ones, but I've noticed that there's just more of a beiger undertone to the foundation. The coverage of this foundation is full coverage. I would say it's probably, out of all the foundations I'm going to share with you today, it's probably the most coverage. I love the fact that it is definitely buildable on spots and it doesn't look cakey. Some areas I don't even have to use concealer when I use this foundation because I just kind of build it up on just certain areas. If I have any imperfections or blemishes or cuts or scrapes or scabs or whatever I'm trying to cover, this literally will cover it. I find the best way to apply it is a dome-topped or flat-top kabuki brush works really great. I like the beauty blender with it because it makes it a little bit lighter coverage, so if you're kind of trying to lighten it out a little bit, then use a beauty blender. But if you're looking for like the fuller coverage, I would use a different, like a brush. Finish of this is really nice. It's not like a matte finish, but it's not like too dewy either. It works really great with my oily skin. Again, it is what I'm wearing today. You notice I do have to blot, but that's with any foundation, but it doesn't look really super, you know, oily like some of the dewier finish look, and a lot of the dewier finishes aren't full coverage either. Unfortunately, it does not have SPF, so that's kind of like a bummer. I find that this foundation works well with drier skin types, unless someone has found it work and made it work for you and you have drier skin. But when I have in the summertime or in the winter time or the winter months, I find that when I reach for it, it kind of almost like sticks to the drier spots and it like just kind of makes it more noticeable. So I don't really find that it's really great for drier skin types, so I wouldn't recommend it for drier skin types. Again, like I said, this is like the perfect foundation to reach for when I have like a blemish, because I mean, you don't really want to cake on the product, you know, because then it's like, I feel like it makes it more noticeable when you're trying to cake on all these products. So this works really great. And sometimes like if I have like a scab or a scar or something, literally it covers everything. So I absolutely love this. This is a must-have foundation in my collection at all times. My next foundation is also from Revlon. This is the Revlon Colorstay Oily Combination Skin Foundation. They do have a dry skin one, so if you do have oily skin or combination skin, I recommend checking this guy out. This is probably my first foundation, liquid foundation I ever purchased from the drugstore. And again, this is one of them that I've purchased many times and always have to have in my collection. I love the coverage that it gives. It's a fuller coverage foundation. It is a little bit more liquidy than the mousse type, the whipped foundation, so if you're looking for more of like a liquid foundation, then I definitely recommend this one. The price point on this one is around $10, $11. The color selection for this foundation, I find, like when I went to like Rite Aid or something, they didn't have like the biggest, but my local drugstore, they always have had like a little bit wider of a selection to choose from. I do still have to use a concealer when I use this foundation, and I find the best way to apply this one is with a flat top brush so that I get the fuller coverage, since it is more of a liquid foundation. But if I'm going for like a lighter look, then definitely a beauty blender. The finish of this is, I would say, just almost like a matte. It's like in between a matte and a dewy. It does have SPF 6 in it. The longevity of this one, I don't think I mentioned the longevity of the Revlon Whip. The longevity of this is seriously, it says 24 hours and it probably would last 24 hours. I have not worn it 24 hours, but it does last a really long time. I feel like this one, the whipped one at least, it looks better as it wears. Like it looks healthy, like your skin looks really great. What I don't like about this foundation is the fact that it doesn't have a pump or anything, which normally drugstore foundations don't always have a pump, so you can't really control the amount you're really getting, and it does kind of like pour out. It is a little bit runnier, and it does have like a real strong scent to it. If you're really sensitive to scents. I don't notice a scent with the ripped one. So next favorite is by Covergirl, and this is one of the newer foundations. I do have a first impression video of this foundation. If you want to check it out, I will link that down below. This is the Hello Gorgeous Ready Set foundation. Where did I say Hello Gorgeous? It's just Ready Set Gorgeous foundation. I did find a larger selection of colors to choose from at a Target or a Rite Aid, which was really weird because normally my drugstore foundation, or my drugstore has they have like the wider selection pretty quickly. The price point of this foundation is actually fairly inexpensive. It's a lot less than the first two that I showed you. I found it for like $6–7. The coverage of this foundation I would say is more of like a light medium coverage. It's definitely buildable. I wouldn't say it's crazy full coverage. I do find myself applying a concealer when I wear this foundation. The longevity of this foundation was fairly nice. I do notice that I needed to touch up when I did that first impression video. Finish, I would say for this was more of like a matte finish. It says that it lasts all day and it's natural, and it does look, it's the most natural looking. I almost made my skin look just more like my skin peeked through, and it made it look really healthy and natural. It doesn't have an SPF, and I do love the fact that you can control the amount you use, so you're not wasting any product like the first ones. My next favorite is by L'Oreal, and this is the True Match Super Blendable Makeup. This one has SPF 17 in it, and it's oil free. This one takes the cake on having the most variety of color selection. There's seriously so many colors to choose from that there's probably color for literally everybody. Super blendable, I would say it's about medium to full coverage. You can definitely build it up. I do find that even though it is a fuller coverage, I still have to use the concealer, which is okay. The coverage is really lightweight feeling. It's again on the natural side. It almost looks like your skin is peeking through a little bit, so I really love that. The longevity on this foundation is kind of, I don't know, it's not really long wear. If I put a blotting powder or a setting powder on it, I do find that it does last a little bit longer, so I do recommend if you are looking for it to wear a little bit longer to at least set it with something to kind of keep it in place. Again, it does not have a pump, so you can't really control the desired amount you want, but it's still a really nice foundation if you're looking for a fuller coverage or medium to full coverage foundation that is real light and natural. I think that L'Oreal is one of the higher end, not higher end, but one of the more expensive drugstore brands. Now my last foundation is again from L'Oreal. This is the Magic Liquid Nude Powder, Magic Nude Liquid Powder Foundation. The Bare Skin Perfecting Makeup. This one has SPF 18 and it says Oxidate Sunscreen, whatever that means. Anyways, the color selection on this one is not as big as the other L'Oreal one, which is still okay. I do love kind of the, what would you call it? I do love the fact that this foundation is more of like a powdery finish foundation. I don't love the fact that it does kind of stick to the drier spots, so I don't think it would be really great for drier skin. I think that it is pretty light of a coverage. I wouldn't say that it's full coverage at all. This one is one of the ones that I notice more than any of the other ones that I've mentioned. It does oxidate, and I don't think it's long wearing, so I would mostly use this one if it's just like a shorter day. I do love the foundation though, because it does make my skin look really great, and I love the feel and the lightness that it has. The finish of this is more of a matte finish. I do tend to kind of add some more highlights to my skin definitely when I wear this one, just because it is more of a matte finish, so my skin doesn't look so flat. Price point on this foundation, I would say it was Again, it's a L'Oreal, so it's more on the pricier side. I think that I paid like $13 or $14 for this, but it's definitely a really great foundation if you're looking for just like a shorter kind of wear foundation and something that's more of a lighter feel and more natural, and that almost looks like a powder, so it gives you it doesn't look like you're wearing one. So those are all my 5 favorite drugstore foundations at the moment. My mind is always changing, so you never know, and there's always new foundations out there, so I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. I got some more stuff. My next item is, oh my goodness. Seriously, I am so excited.